Hey, Shalom Markins, Rakam Akapash from GMS London, giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem Chakodash. Want to give double honors unto the elders, the apostles of GMS, and Shalom out there to the hopeful, elect, pushing his truth in all sincerity. Yeah, back again with another video. And my last video that I did, as you can see here, called Locking You Into the New System. We got Larry Fink speaking about how everything, is on the way of being tokenized, right? He says BlackRock CEO Larry Fink says this is only the beginning, as the tokenization of everything is underway, right? And I was explaining about how this all links into the MOTB, Esau's using this to control the people, right? These are all tools that he's incorporating into his MOTB system, right, to gain absolute control over the people. All right. So what I thought I'll do today, which is quickly go into what tokenization is. All right. So I got up here in the Chat GPT. All right. I asked it what is tokenization, and but the basics of it is this, right? Tokenization is the process of breaking down a larger piece of text, data, or value into smaller, meaningful units called tokens. The meaning of tokenization depends on the context. Here are the main uses, right? So as you can see here, there's some of the uses in that. But what I really want to get to is in this part here, right, in blockchain finance, right? Because this is blockchain is what's made this possible. All these digital currencies and stuff like that, and this way of tracking and logging things through the blockchain. Right, so in blockchain, tokenization means representing a real world or digital asset as a token on a blockchain. Example, a piece of real estate represented as a digital token on Ethereum. Each token equals fractional ownership of the property. Purpose enables fractional ownership, liquidity, and transparent trading of assets. Right. So I asked it to focus more on the blockchain and finance part, right? Because that's the world Larry thinks from anyway, right? So this is what he was going on about, right? What is the tokenization in blockchain and finance? In blockchain, tokenization means converting ownership rights of a real world or digital asset into a digital token that lives on the blockchain. Each token represents a unit of value or fractional ownership or the underlying asset, like a share in a company or a piece of real estate, artwork, or even commodities like gold. Right? So I'll show you how it works, right? You can read that. Pause and read that. And then that part as well. Right? So got the benefits of it, right? But what I'm waiting to get into, and this is this next question I asked, right? I asked it, how would the government use tokenization against its citizens? Right? And it took time to ponder about that. It took 16 seconds for it to think about it to get the relevant information, right? And it says short answer up front. It's being up front, right? Being up front of us, It says tokenization, especially via CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, okay, which all these governments are working on, right, to make a digital version of the currencies, right? Tokenized IDs, right? We're talking about digital IDs these days, right? Or tokenized assets. It gives governments powerful new tools that, if designed or used badly, it's not designed badly. These things are not designed badly, right? It's designed for the purpose it's made for, right? Pardon me. This is if designed or used badly, can enable surveillance, financial control, right? And this is what the whole market of beast system is about. It's about control, right? About locking you into the new world order, right? Where Esau has control over all things, even to minute fractionals of anything, right? This is exclusion, right? Because you can be excluded, right? I.e., you can't buy or sell, right? You can be excluded from things, or you can't go here, you can't purchase this, or you can't fly there, whatever it is, they can exclude you from things, right? And rapid asset seizure, which Larry Fink knows all about rapid asset seizure, man. He's buying up every damn fucking thing, right? And this is what it is. Esau is, he taking everything. WF again. We keep quoting it. You will own nothing. All right. So they are looking to take and take and take and take. Actually, we got this. So it's going to be pretty much the same precepts, but as the last video. Let's see. Right, Habakkuk 2 and 5 says, "Yea, also because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire is hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people." Right? So this guy, he's just looking to take. So this is all about control, exclusion, and seizure of things. Right? This is below I list. ChatGPT talking about it as a person. I list concrete misuse scenarios, right? Real world examples, concern from experts, legal and ethical risks, and high level safeguards that reduce those risks, right? I won't provide step-by-step instructions for oppressive actions because that would be immoral in case I wanted to enforce it in my own peoples. But I will explain clearly how the mechanisms work and how they can be guarded against. Well, okay, right? How tokenization could be used against citizens, mechanisms and examples. Total transaction visibility and profiling. If money is tokenized on a ledger, the government can, depending on design, see who paid whom, when, and for what. Right? So, you got certain guys out there that got certain assets or whatever, right? And, he's still got it in for them, right? He can identify exactly who did what, where, and how, right? You'll be visible. You'll be completely visible, right? Which is funny because this whole cryptocurrency, era that we kind of living in was supposed to be all about anonymity, right? So they couldn't figure you, couldn't tell who you were, right? But all this is being regulated now and being brought into the mainstream. It's now open for all to see, right? Everything's just gonna be there, on the ledger somewhere, This is see who paid whom, when, and for what. That enables profiling, targeted enforcement or political pressure. Yeah, they say they got certain enemies in certain places or whatever. They can just seize assets and that. Raised repeatedly in CBDC analysis, right? Programmable money. Now this is going to be one of the most important ones, right, for the common citizen out here, right? Because right now, we get cash, you get paid, right? And yeah, we kind of use digital money now in a sense, right? Because we use our credit cards and debit cards, right? We don't actually handle physical cash a lot of time anymore. So we're just paying, via a computer numbers just being traded, right? But then but with that money, quote unquote, that you have, you could spend it on anything, right? But tokenization or in this form, programmable money, right, is more like, we used to get vouchers and you could always spend vouchers at a particular store. Like, you used to get them for gifts, like, people's birthdays and whatever. You used to give people gifts, weddings or whatever. And yeah, you got £20 or £50 to spend in, I don't know, House of Fraser or DFS, buy a sofa, whatever, right? But you could only spend it there, or in a chain of certain companies. You could only spend it there, right? You couldn't just go to your local shop and buy whatever, right? It's restricted to what you can use it to purchase with, right? That's what this is like. But this is all you're gonna get. You ain't gonna get no cash. This is how you're gonna get paid. You're gonna be paid, but with digital currencies, which are programmed, right? And they have expiry dates, or they can have expiry dates, and they can restrict you. Again, mention exclusion. It can restrict you what you can and can't purchase, where you can purchase something. Maybe it's only locked into your area. Maybe you can go to your supermarket with it, but you can only go to the supermarket within your area. It's only valid at certain stores, right? You can't go outside to this store because it won't accept it, rare tear tear, right? These are just examples where they can control what you spend it on and how much you can spend. Okay, so when the scripture speaks about not being able to buy or sell, right? This is a thing that they can fully do, right? So Revelations 13 and 16, he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, right? Because the whole world is going to be under this, CBDC, digital currency, digital world, right? And receive a mark in their right hand and forehead, or in the forehead, right? Which takes us to the mark of the beast itself, the implantable microchip, right? That they want to connect you into the system, right? And that's where you're going to be, be given, that's going to be the interface, so to speak, right? And they're going to give you your allowances, your UBI, your universal basic income, which they're all talking about, right? Because cash and earning cash isn't going to be done the same, right? You're not going to be paid in, through the same method or the same way that we're currently getting paid, right? They're changing the whole system, right? I was even hearing something on the radio yesterday on the way home, and it was something to do with how you do your taxes, right? Because some people got to do their own taxes, and they're changing it. They're changing how you do it. It's all going into a digital system, right? And it's only going to be through certain verified, for lack of better words, programs, or certain places that are being verified to, where you got to submit all your taxes for a particular company or whatever, right? Otherwise, it's not going to be accepted, right? So you got to change the way you do your taxes. They all want to put it through this digital database because they all want it recorded and put up there, that is there. It's like that is there, right? For them to see it and be out in the open. So you can't, you can't do none of your dodgy shit anymore, right? So they're all moving, all these things over to a digital system, right? And soon your benefits or the way you get paid, that's all going to be through this same system. Okay, but you're not going to be paid in quote unquote cash where you can spend it anywhere. You're going to be paid in these these CBDCs, these central bank digital currencies, the digital pound, the digital dollar, or whatever, right? But they can put limitations on what it does, how you use it, right? So verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name, right? So you can't buy or sell. So they can, they say it's valid here but not valid there. There's a certain much you can spend in this particular store, and all these different things that they can control with the digital currencies, in this digital system that they're creating. All right. So back to programmable money. Conditional restrictions. Programmable tokens can carry rules, expiry dates, limits on where or for what categories they can be spent, or negative positive interest. Governments could use that to restrict purchases, i.e., or example, block spending on political donations or limit purchase in particular regions, right? So they can block spending, stop you from buying or selling, right? Even and that's even if you have the mark, they can stop you doing that, right? But if you got cash, that system is gone. You can't use that unless you have this shit. You got no chance of buying or selling. But once you're in that system, now it also has complete control over what you do, right? So it's an oppressive regime that he's planning on looking to implement, right? Right now, ChatGPT is talking like these men are not really on that, but this is the devil we're talking about. ChatGPT don't know who the devil is. Actually, I'm gonna ask it after. Who's the devil? Let's see if it knows. Right, but it don't know that these men are the Edomites and that these men are looking to do this and that and the third. So, this is all going to take a turn for the worse, and we gonna see it, right? It says the European Data Protection Office and other analysis explicitly warn about these risks, right? So these are discussions that even these men are having, right? Point 3: real-time censorship or freezing of wallets. Right, so they want you to have a digital wallet now, That's a more common thing, right? And so when everything goes over to CBDCs, guess what? They're going to give you a digital wallet, right? Soon the physical wallet that's in your pocket isn't going to have nothing in it. Because you lose your cards and you lose this and lose that. What do you need a wallet for when you got a micro C hip in your hand? You don't need a wallet no more. Don't even need keys no more. You don't. That's what they how they're promoting. You don't need none of these things because you lose them and someone can steal them and do fraud and do this and do that. If you got an RFID chip in your hand and you got your biometrics and that kind of stuff, then no one can steal all of that. So that's what they're working towards, right? So yeah, the real-time censorship of freezing of wallets. Tokenized systems controlled by a central authority can blacklist addresses, freeze balances, or disable certain transactions. Or even the British government here is talking about having access to your bank accounts, right? If you owe them money for any reason or whatever, and they can just go into your bank and take it. So they're already pushing these ideas out there, right? And so this will just be worse once you're in this new system, right? So it will disable certain transactions instantly, stronger and faster than traditional legal processes for freezing bank accounts, right? Concerns about programmable state power, are prominent in recent commentary. Targeted economic coercion, social control, linking tokenized IDs, right? Social services and digital currencies lets a state condition benefit. And digital currency lets a state condition benefits or access to services on behavior. A modern social credit style lever. Observers have flagged China's ECNY and social credit model as an example of how digital finance could amplify social control, right? And that's a great example, right? that these men are going to look to implement, right? Surveillance via tokenized digital identity. National EIDs or tokenized identity systems consolidate personal data and transaction links, right? Again, something they're pushing heavy is the digital IDs, right? If that data is abused, citizens can be tracked across government and private services. Academic studies and governance reports warn about misuse and data protection gaps. Point 6, rapid automated asset seizure, demurrage. Smart contracts could be written to automatically seize or reduce value in certain wallets, or on legal or administrative triggers, enabling fast confiscation of punitive economic measures without normal court delays. This is a design risk widely discussed in policy literature. Real-world context and authoritative concerns. Central banks and international bodies are actively studying CBDCs, right, as I mentioned, and tokenization. They explicitly list privacy, governance, and the potential for misuse among top risks. Policy papers emphasize design choices matter enormously. Reporting and analysis highlight China's ECNY as a practical test case where state control and surveillance concerns are visible. Commentators warn that programmable features could be used for economic coercion, right? Because you might not buy or sell lest he that have the mark or the number of the beast, number of his name, right? That's coercion, right? And obviously, you don't. These Western governments, they're not going to come out and say, we're just going to do this, because obviously these men, they're going to create a situation where you're going to want it, right? Because things are going to be so crazy, and this is what they're going to offer you, right? And it's going to be you decided to do it. Your democracy, right? You decided that you wanted to do it. This is we run a democracy, a democratic vote or whatever. You're going to want it because things are going to be so bad. Right, and it's going to give all the governments all the powers that they need to implement it. Right? Legal, ethical, and social risk. Erosion of financial privacy. Ubiquitous visibility into transactions weakens anonymity, right? And chills dissent for free association. So I mentioned that earlier, right? Power concentration. Centralized control of everything's being centralized, right? Control of token ledgers. Concentrate enormous discretionary power in state agencies. Ruled by algorithm, AIs, right? Automated enforcement via smart contracts can remove human review, increasing errors and reducing legal resources, right? That's what your AIs are being built for, to make, decisions about the need of people, right? Digital exclusion. Citizens lacking access digital literacy or trust could be cut off from basic services if cash or alternatives disappear, right? So it's interesting, right? Digital literacy or trust, right? People that don't trust this new system, i.e., like us, and for you other guys out there that don't like this idea of coming to pass, right? So you're gonna flag up on the database, right? Yeah, if cash or alternatives disappear, which they are disappearing, right? High-level safeguards and design choices that reduce. Okay, so he's going to go on to how to fight it. So I'm not going to bother with that. But yeah, so that's basically what the whole movement is, or the whole thing behind tokenization is. All right, and how it would be implemented and used under ESOR, because this is ESOR we're talking about at the end of the day, right? ESOR is not here to make things easy for you, make your life better. He's not here for that, right? He is the devil the Bible speaks about, and so, that's not what I want either. Job, right? So this is not for your benefit, right? So we have to keep reminding you of these things, right? Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. What do you think the wicked are going to do with this type of technology or these types of abilities? What do you think they're going to do with it? You think it's not going to end up in these worst case scenarios that we're put into you? You think we're being paranoid? Okay, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. The wicked don't do good. That's the whole idea. That's the whole point, right? They're going to do wickedly with the things that they've brought about, right? The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Right. So this technology is not going to be used for good. Okay, it's going to be used to enslave the people. So woe to them that Micah 2:2, 2:1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. That's these guys. It's the wicked. When the morning is light, they practice it because it's in the power of their hands. They covet fields and take them of violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, against this family do I devise an evil. And this is why Esau's got to get taken out. Right? He's only here to oppress people and take peace from the earth. Right? So from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall you go haughtily, for this time is evil. Right? We're living in evil times. So evil things are going to happen. These people are not on our side. Not on our side at all. In Psalm 64 verse 2, we'll close out with this. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly they do shoot him and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? Right? Because they're banking on you think there's some kind of morals about them. These people ain't got no morals. Not ethical in the slightest. All right. They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. That's what all this work's been. All this research and that's been going into in creating this new world order. That's what it's been designed for. So they can gain a stronger foothold in the earth. Right? They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. But God shall shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly they shall be wounded. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. All men shall fear and shall declare the work of the Most High, for they shall wisely consider of his doing. The righteous shall be glad in the Lord Yahweh and shall trust in him. Okay, we're not going to trust in Esau in that day of trouble. Esau's going to give us all the reassurances and convince you that you need to take his mark and everything's going to be better, right? But that is going to be the sealing of your fate in terms of your destruction, right? We're going to trust in the Lord in that time, right? The righteous shall be glad in the Lord and shall trust in him, and all upright in heart shall glory. All right, so I'm going to end it there. Long one, this has been edifying, and I'll catch you brothers and sisters on the next video. Until next time, I say shalom.